back to the movie Expletives. I'm Jeff.
I'm Ron.
We're talking Batman v Superman, and now we're into our fucking... I was intending to do 20 minutes of spoiler-free. That didn't fucking happen. I told you this was going to be long. This is going to be a long one. When I have struggles organizing the notes to review your film, shit went bad in a lot of different places. But yeah, so this is your final warning.
Yeah, final warning. We're going into spoiler territory now. If you're leaving us now, we appreciate you listening. Come back and see what our thoughts were on the spoiler-riddled edition. But, yeah, we are going full red alert spoiler mode.
We need to get a red alert drop.
Yes, we do.
We do need to do that.
If you don't want to know what is happening, then check out now. If you're still with us for whatever reason and you still have not seen the movie, you're probably not going to go see the movie by the time we're done.
All right, here we go. Final warning, here we go. Okay, here's what we're going to do with this. Is I thought the best way to go about the spoiler-filled section is we're going to stick with focusing on Batman v Superman first, and then slowly later on move into shit that is Justice League advertising.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk spin-offs and Justice League shit like that later.
We're going to have a big problem because there was virtually no Batman versus Superman.
Okay, I actually thought...
Did I just start us off?
We're going back to the beginning of the film with the first couple of topics. I thought the origin being done in the title sequence, thank God. That was one thing they got right.
Yes, I was cool with that.
It needed to be hulked.
As short as it was, still much more invested and much more heart-wrenching than the Gotham version.
I totally 110% agree. Gorgeous imagery.
Yes.
The slide on the pistol, slicing the pearls was Zack Snyder visual genius.
Yes. I loved that.
There was what I think the only line of dialogue is Martha.
Yes, I believe so.
Great.
No dancing in the pale moonlight.
Great job condensing that, but still making it impactful, even though you've seen the story and heard the story 1,000 times.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan and is it Lauren Cohan?
Yeah.
They, like I said, the only line was Martha, but they said everything they needed to say with body language and facial expressions.
Great job. Just thank God we didn't have to sit through another 45-minute Batman origin.
Yes.
Okay, here's something. I think one of the best sequences in the film was actually seeing the ending of Man of Steel from the perspective of the ground.
Yes.
Because here's the thing. With Man of Steel, you view it as a spectacle in an action movie. As a fan, you're like, you and I always talk about it's Dragon Ball Z. You're like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. And when you watch it from the ground perspective...
It was terrifying.
It was a closer Cloverfield sequel than 10 Cloverfield Lane.
It really was.
Like, I thought making it basically a horror film almost was shot brilliantly. Affleck was great in that sequence.
Yeah, fuck you. And...
That means you agree.
And another thing I appreciated about it was there was, 3 moments that were potentially reused from Man of Steel, and the rest of it they had said was painstakingly measured and analyzed and then recreated because those scenes did not exist in Man of Steel. So the angles at which Zod's heat vision is blowing through the Wayne Financial Tower is the same angle he's firing it out of his face in that scene in Man of Steel.
Great attention to detail.
The only other movie I've ever seen that did that, by the way, was Underworld: Rise of the Lycans.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
It's the prequel, and because they changed actresses and a few other things, they had to recreate some of the flashback scenes just like that. They recreated the lighting and everything. They did not reuse any scenes because it would not flow.
Very cool. The part of it was in the trailer, but just as a whole, Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne, while that shit's going down, and everyone else is running that direction, and he's going towards it.
I loved that.
He is not even in the suit. One of the most Batman things I've ever seen in live action. When I was watching that, I was like, "That's fucking Batman." He's got no gadgets. He's going towards the fucking gods destroying the city. That's awesome.
The only real complaint I have about that scene is I was told someone close to him dies, and that's one of the things that makes it personal for him. He may have been close to him, but I don't know who the fuck Jack is.
I agree. I think they were smart to not go full blown and then just like axe Lucius Fox or someone like that cheaply. But I would have actually probably picked out an obscure comic reference.
Yes.
That way, at least if you go and Google it, you're like, oh, that's that guy from that thing. Not just Jack, random faceless guy.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, I actually thought Affleck did a pretty good job reacting as if it was like Lucius Fox. Like, one of my favorite Batman moments is after he saves the girl.
Yeah.
As the thing's falling, and he's like, it's okay. Let's go find your mom and dad. And he's like, where are they at? And she points up at the building that's been just destroyed. And then you see Ben Affleck's face as he's like kind of taking in what he just absorbed, and then looks up at Superman and Zod, and that look in his eye. He was great in that scene.
Yeah.
Where
I have a complaint about that too, though.
Go ahead.
I get we're talking about comic book characters, but I hate unnecessary / unrealistic things. Like, okay, he just went through all this stuff. Why does there also need to be something falling on a helpless child who's not paying attention? It just falls under the little under the cliche mark for me. Like, it could have been enough to do like they did in Pacific Rim with the girl just coming out of the dust or something like that. You didn't need her life in danger and him like diving to save her also. At
least they had... First of all, I totally 110% agree with you.
I do agree with everything else you said about that scene.
I will defend them in the fact that at least it had a poignant follow-up in the line about her parents in the building. If it had just been straight up, Ben Affleck's running, he saves a little girl, he keeps going, then later on looks up at them.
Yeah.
It was done... It could have been done worse, if that makes sense.
There was no need to have the girl needing to be saved.
Yeah.
Like, if some of the dust kind of cleared and he saw her standing there and he went to her and had that same scene, you would have had the same emotional impact.
Again, though, with the film we're talking about and how bad the script was...
That is the least worst thing.
Yeah, exactly. We are blessed to have a scene with, like... a small.
If you're going to give me a laundry list of things I can pick on, I'm throwing everything I can in there. So,
but yeah, I thought the Metropolis thing was brilliantly done.
Yes, and I like that it was like a lot of people have asked why the fuck is Wayne headquarters in Metropolis? It's Wayne Financial. Wayne headquarters is in Gotham.
Did it bug you that Gotham and Metropolis were right next to each other?
A bit.
It did bug me a little bit too.
That was never my understanding.
It's because it's not. Because
I always got the feel that Gotham is more like Chicago, Metropolis is more like New York, and they've got a little bit more distance between them. And I thought Gotham was actually supposed to be set near like Michigan area.
In the comics, it's kind of vague, but in continuity, you have to. If you're not the fucking Flash or Superman, you have to fly a plane to get back and forth. They are hours apart. That bugged me a little bit. It didn't really bug me until later on in the film when the shit starts going down and they're like, hey, look over there.
Yeah.
At Gotham. Shit's going down in Gotham with the bat signal. And it's like 20 feet away. That really bugged me. Yeah. And I know, again, for what we're talking about, that's a nitpick when there's so much more to go on about. But just really quick, I want to get that out there. That did bug me, too.
Yeah, it bugged me.
Let's see.
I did like Perry's little quip about, front page news, crime spree in Gotham.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne did a very good job too. With what little he did, he actually did very, very good with what he was given.
Yeah.
So a little unsung hero. Here we go. Batman killing people. I'm gonna let you start off this one.
What the actual fuck? I mean, I really feel like if you counted it up, it's probably more than Burton and Schumacher put together on how many deaths and how deliberate the deaths were.
Okay, here. This is such a hard one for me Because it's okay. First of all, I'm gonna say that the way that I view Batman in this film isn't he's going out of his way to murder everyone. It's basically like what I call him the shit happens Batman. If you get in his way,
you can't call him the shit happens Batman when he deliberately fires a rear grappling hook into a car that already has two dead bodies in it.
I agree.
And swings it around to pancake another car that now has two more dead bodies in it.
And we watched the kill count of the original movies for this point,
which was 45.
To me, that isn't as bad as Batman attaching a fucking dynamite roll to a guy's chest, throwing him into a sewer, and then smiling about it as he enjoys killing the dude. Like,
but that's almost what this feels like.
It's to me, it's
they
like
didn't expressly do that.
Or the scene where he drops. There's 10 guys or 9 exactly around the Batmobile, and he drops a circular bomb straight out of Adam West Batman and blows up the whole fucking building. Like now, granted, they should have known better now because back then Tim Burton just didn't fucking care,
right?
And he had no one to answer to. Zack Snyder and these writers should understand. They're like, how many were there in the Nolan movies? Okay, let's go back. In Dark Knight, there was what, like 1. And in Begins, there was like a couple.
Yeah.
And people complained then. So for him to be straight up killing people was an odd choice.
Here's the reason I took so much issue with it this time as opposed to the other times I've seen it, though. One, it was the 90s. Standards were pretty low for comic book hero movies back then. Like you said, the attention to detail is not there. But the main problem I have with it is when you have a Batman that is this dark and uses the kind of tactics that he is using, the only thing that separates him from his villains is his one rule of not killing. This version with the killing is just as bad as the Joker or Two-Face or anyone else you want to throw out there.
I actually agree with you. One thing that... Okay, here's the thing. Obviously, this is not the Batman you or I want in a perfect world, but
I'm not going to do it. I was going to do Dark Knight ending, but
this is an alternate take on the very specific Dark Knight Returns Batman. Right. And I know you haven't read the comic, but you have watched the animated movie.
Right.
The animated movie actually lightens up him, quote unquote, killing people. The scene that we can talk about now, when he is about to save Superman's mom, and he shoots the flamethrower tank, and then the guy
is born,
and the guy clicks it and tortures himself.
Yeah,
that scene in The Dark Knight Returns, Batman shoots him with a gun, straight up with a pistol, and you don't know if he killed him or not. It's left ambiguous.
Really?
So I totally agree with you, but this is basically that Dark Knight Returns Batman. It's weird. It's not a direct adaptation, but it's like they took the spirit of that Batman, and I don't really understand why, because if fanboys do anything, they nitpick.
Oh yeah,
and that is it's been that way. Batman's no kill rule since the 50s and 60s.
Yeah,
he didn't always be that way.
Because the one thing that was awesome about, like, say, Batman versus Superman, no pun intended, is the one rule is the one rule. That's what separates Batman from all other heroes, from all of his villains and everything. Is from his villains, the one rule, no kill. From the other heroes, he only has the one fucking rule.
What sucks, though, is it actually was a missed opportunity, because it would have been cool, in my opinion, turning it on its head. If Superman's whole problem with Batman is, dude, you're fucking murdering people.
Right.
If in the script had been like, Superman's whole issue and why they're fighting on Superman's angle is like, dude, you're fucking killing people. That could have been kind of interesting.
Because he had... I don't want to say he was completely indifferent towards Batman, because the Clark Kent aspect, the pieces he's wanting to write on Batman, showed that he did not approve of Batman. But as Superman, he basically had very little to no beef with the guy.
Yeah.
Which makes absolutely no sense, because Batman's made it very clear he's got a beef with him.
Now, this is, as a fan, as far as being associated with the comics, I shouldn't have to make these parallels. They should be more understood in the script.
Right.
But him killing people, I also think would have been interesting. And Snyder, after the fact, has come out and said this is the reasoning why he's killing people. But it should have been more understood in the film. But I made this connection too before he talked about it.
You shouldn't have to explain your movie, though.
You shouldn't have to bridge as many gaps as you do as a viewer of this film.
Right.
Robin dying is very, very critical to Batman's development as a character, because in the Dark Knight Nolan trilogy, Rachel dying because first of all, it had nothing to do with Batman. It was because she was dating Harvey Dent.
Right.
Her dying should have no fucking effect on Batman wanting to retire or changing his mentality or anything.
Right.
A Robin dying is a completely different beast, though, because if you
That's
think
a
about
death in the family.
if you think about it, Batman's reason for becoming Batman is he wants to make sure no other kid ever goes through what he did.
Right.
He wants to make sure no kid ever goes through the loss of parents in that alleyway the way he did, where it basically Bruce Wayne died as a 9-year-old.
Right.
Him directly getting a kid killed because he employed him as a sidekick or partner, whatever you want to call about it, could be potentially devastating.
Yeah.
That could be something which should be a part of the script. Alfred easily could have had a line where he was like, "You didn't used to be this way," and they could have even, like, how cool would have been if they dropped Jason, just the first name Jason.
Right.
You would have gotten chills as a Batman fan.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if and Jeremy Irons would have crushed it too. You didn't do this before Jason.
Yeah.
It would have been a great fucking line.
When he was talking about how when he had the cruelty line about him branding people, it would have been a perfect place to drop it.
That line, how many of the good guys stayed good?
Yeah.
If Alfred right then would have said, you didn't used to be this way before Jason,
right,
would have completely given a more
at least would have given it context.
It would have given context, and it would have given him more character.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is like the movie, and why it makes it so frustrating is it's a movie full of 1,000 missed opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
It's not horrible.
Well, the whole movie, more or less, is a missed opportunity.
Yeah, it's a series of moments
of unfortunate events.
of missed opportunities. Because like what I've been saying, if that had been defining character for Batman, would have been some interesting stuff. But fucking Zack Snyder going after the fact, saying, "Oh, he kills people because of Robin," that
doesn't
bullshit.
make it okay.
That doesn't make it okay.
Yeah.
Because I shouldn't have to, and if I didn't have a Batman background or you didn't, you can't make these connections.
I still didn't make that connection.
I actually did, and I kind of because like I'm such a huge Batman fan that I have to kind of while I'm watching.
Are you saying you're a bigger fan than me, sir?
Maybe.
Jeffy Ron.
A ton of expletives. But I did make the Robin connection, and part of it is I've actually read the Dark Knight Returns comic. And in the Dark Knight Returns comic, actually, the Jason Todd death being... Will you quit flipping and distracting me through Gal Gadot's pictures? That was a subtext to it, so I can make that connection as a person who has read that comic. Bullshit that you have to read the fucking comic to make that goddamn connection. So it's weird. Like, I agree with you, but I put a little bit more into it being a fan of that comic.
Now,
I guess.
After a 10-minute negative rant, there is something positive I do want to say. Speaking about the comic references, how many just little subtle things there were, like him just simply standing in the burnt remains of Wayne Manor after the Rogues Gallery had come in and torched the place, and just stuff like that was a really cool way of giving you a timeline and some perspective to how long he's been Batman, what events he's been through, things like that. I actually really did appreciate that, even though I haven't read hardly any of the comics. There were still references that even I picked up on.
It's really, really cool that we finally got a veteran Batman.
Yes.
We have always got... I mean, what do you think the closest veteran Batman is? Like Keaton?
I think Keaton, yeah, because he was already Batman.
Shit. So this Batman has been Batman for 20 years. In the Nolan movies, he's only Batman for about a year and a half.
And then retires.
And then he comes back.
Because my ex-girlfriend died.
And then he comes back for a week. and he gets his back broken. Does a lot of crunches, and he comes back. He's Batman for a day. Then he retires again. Goes bangs Catwoman.
Yep.
Yeah, that happened in that movie. Why are we not doing a commentary on that right now?
I don't know. I'm penciling that in.
We haven't done a rant. Our first rant tracks has to be Dark Knight Rises.
Yes,
I think.
followed by Godzilla.
Yeah,
We gotta figure out how to get our hands on Godzilla because I ain't fucking buying it.
fucking Godzilla. Okay, right now, action scenes as a whole throughout the film. We talked briefly about it in the spoiler-free section.
If you can go in South Park style and censor like guns into walkie-talkies and stuff, and that he doesn't kill anyone, then I fucking love the action sequences. That was basically anything cool he did was immediately ruined for me by him straight up like fucking murdering someone.
To me, the murder Batman, which is, I mean, it's bad in the Batmobile scene. He is straight up
God.
destroying. Like the worst one is him using. I mean, it's fucking cool.
It's
like,
cool.
If the Punisher had done that car
Exactly.
routine, would have been absolutely incredible. Like blow your mind.
They needed to dial back the Frank Castle.
To me, it was most prevalent in that scene, in the Batmobile scene, because the Arkham action at the end, pretty much, other than the guy who, I mean, Batman. I don't really think Batman blowing the cap off of the flamethrower, and then the guy in an attempt to murder Martha blowing himself up. That's kind of like, I don't think he straight up murdered the dude. Like he didn't shoot him. I don't think he did.
I do, because he knew exactly what was going to happen when he did that. That's why he did it. He gave the guy justice, Frank Castle style, by he was going to burn her to death, so he made him burn himself to death instead. Which it honestly is probably not to death, because if that's usually Firefly's origin, some kind of horrible burn situation.
Yeah.
I have a feeling we might see Firefly as a minor villain.
Until that one, though. But my point was, in that Arkham hand-to-hand combat scene, most of those guys could have lived. Like, that's a funny thing to say, but like I don't remember anything. Like it was
Daredevil brutal.
It was
that was cool.
Dude, take all my money.
All right,
all my money. Would you agree though? The murder wasn't as like. There weren't like okay. When I was watching the Batmobile scene, let me take it back for a second. When I was watching the Batmobile scene, I was like, "Oh shit, that guy's dead."
Yeah.
Until that flamethrower thing, I didn't have that reaction of, "Oh shit, that guy's dead." That guy's never gonna walk again.
It bothered me to such a degree, I scrutinized everything he did against that. So, because it really, so Superman broke Zod's neck, meh. But Batman pancaking a car with another car with living people inside of it, or shooting the tank on a flamethrower and the guy bursting into flames, like that shit stuck with me, because like I said, the one thing I love about Batman is the one rule, and that's the line he never crosses. And he crossed it so many times in this movie that it literally took away from those scenes for me.
And what would have helped them is what I was talking about earlier, if they had made it a part of the script.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, no one really reacts to him being a murderer.
Not really. I mean, Alfred has like one line about it
where he and it could be taken as far as he just doesn't approve of the brutality, not specifically the killing. The killing is never addressed.
It's literally take it however you want to on that line Alfred has.
But the Batman killing people actually didn't ruin my enjoyment of the Daredevil hand-to-hand fight scene, because until the flamethrower thing, which I agree with you on that one, I
think it's not going to happen, but I think if I watched it again, knowing that he's straight up murdering people, then I don't have the shock and awe of it.
Where you're not actively fighting it.
I think I would enjoy it more than...
actually, what you're talking about is the exact same thing that happened to Kevin Smith.
Is it?
Because Kevin Smith, after his first viewing, last night I watched his review after his second viewing. He said he liked it better.
I'm surprised he went back after how him and Ralph Garman toured a new one.
He said he liked it better knowing what he was in for.
Yeah.
Which happens all the time. Happened to me with Guardians of the Galaxy. Remember, I wasn't as high on Guardians the first time until I watched it again and fully understood what they were going for, and I fucking adore that movie now. Like, sometimes that just happens. Sometimes your expectations can really...
Happened to me with Star Wars a little bit.
Did you go back and see Force Awakens the second time?
I saw it at least 2 times.
So you liked it better going for a repeat viewing?
Yeah, when I realized it was a reboot instead of a sequel, it was a little bit better. But going in expecting it to be a sequel and finding out while watching it that it's a reboot really hurt it for me the first time. I still have the same arguments I had in that podcast about it because, like I said, if it was marketed to me as a reboot, it would have been
we're gonna have topic that we need to get back to this.
But this movie was not what I signed up for on Batman. Same thing with the Star Wars parallel.
Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. To me, the lamest fight, as far as just raw action in the whole movie, was Batman fighting Superman.
Yeah. And, like I said earlier, Batman vs. Superman did not happen in this movie. If this movie had just been titled Dawn of Justice, then I'm fine with the 3.5-minute Batman vs. Superman fight. But if you're going to tell me that it's Batman vs. Superman,
yeah,
and you show me their entire fucking fight in the trailers because there's only 3 minutes worth of footage. Yeah, and this is the thing I don't get. This is the thing that really bothered me, Jeff. Let me ask you, if you have a fucking watermelon-sized chunk of kryptonite that Superman doesn't even know that it exists or what it can do to him because he's never been exposed to it before, and your thing is gadgets, are you making a spear or a fucking ranged weapon?
He could have made bullets in one of those Gatling guns.
Yeah,
he
and Superman, knowing that he's bulletproof, would just stand there and fucking be riddled with kryptonite bullets, or just one well-placed bullet. Because, again, he'd probably do like Brandon Routh did, stand there and let it hit him in the fucking eye and think it's going to bounce off when it goes through his brain and kills him. It made no sense to me. Now, the one thing I will defend about this, that there's an article I want to talk about a little bit later I have on my phone right now. The thing it was CNET, I believe, brings up is the smoke grenade. The kryptonite smoke grenade. Yeah. Like, why is it that Batman can hold his breath in space and underwater but can't hold his breath when he's shot
Superman?
with that? Yeah, Superman.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It's smoke, not gas. Gas is molecular. It's atoms. And yeah, you can technically say smoke is that, but smoke is particulate. And it was kryptonite particulate, kryptonite smoke. It just has to come in contact with his skin, or he has to be anywhere near a cloud of it.
So that's been a complaint?
That's been a complaint, that he can't hold his breath when shot with kryptonite smoke.
There's so much more wrong about this movie. You don't need to nitpick it to that extent.
I don't understand. You're talking about the guy that's in the same room with a rock and is dying, being shot in the face with kryptonite particulate, and it just has to contact his skin to cause him problems.
Okay, I didn't have as... Okay, if early on in the movie, when they first come into contact with each other as Batman and Superman, when he stops the Batmobile,
that was a pretty boss moment, by the way.
It was fucking cool. If they had, like, let's say, if they had turned that into another, like, 3-minute fight scene, and we had more than one, then to me it doesn't make it as bullshit that one fight was so short. Like, if you had a couple medium-sized ones, it would have made it a little bit better to me.
Yeah,
It all hinged on one 3-minute fight.
Yeah, that is the thing that gets me. We get all this build-up for nothing. I think, like you're saying, if it was peppered a couple of minutes here and there throughout the whole movie of just really badass action or something, or let the Batmobile hit Superman and let it flip over him or something because it ran into him.
When he careens, like, if you interject another action sequence of the Batmobile isn't 100% fucked up and he can engage him again, that would have been something.
Yeah.
Something. I'm hoping in the longer cut we get one more fight scene out of it. Or,
I doubt it.
I really doubt it too, just because of how expensive it is to film those action scenes.
Yeah.
But yeah, the setting was disappointing of the fight scene.
Yeah.
They're just in an abandoned building.
A single building, too.
A single building.
After an almost global fight between him and Zod.
Exactly.
I get we can't do that with Batman in the Iron Man suit.
It should be better, though.
But that should have been a few city blocks, if nothing else.
What's fucking metal about The Dark Knight Returns is them on ground level in the middle of the abandoned city going
at it.
Fucking, it's like a western.
Yeah,
it's so cool. Like in the scene in the animated movie when Batman
we
uses,
are smiling more talking about the Dark Knight
because it's a great fucking movie
than we are this.
When he charges up and then shocks him, shit like that. Like he had like.
Okay,
it's frustrating.
That is one thing that was cool too, is how fucked up was Superman after the nuke.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit though.
Yeah.
But one thing in the fight that I loved, which was a fucking awesome moment, was when Batman's got the upper hand and he's haymakering him, and then Superman slowly starts regaining his strength, and you hear the punches start becoming more like he's hitting metal.
Yeah.
And then Batman's like, he has that, when he stops punching, and then he has that where he takes like a half step back, and he's got that look on his face like, oh fuck. That was awesome.
That was pretty awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was
more of that.
That was kind of up there with Iron Man v Hulk. Like,
go to sleep.
I'm sorry. Like
so
you
cool.
literally felt I'm sorry from Batfleck when
the Iron Man and Hulkbuster scene.
Much
has
better
so
fight.
much more element, and then that was just a bullshit fight in the middle of Age of Ultron
for no reason.
Batman v Superman. When you're marketing it like that, it needs to be.
Yeah.
You need to walk away saying like, man, even if you didn't like the movie, it's like, man, I'm buying the Blu-ray for that scene alone.
Yeah.
That should be your takeaway.
Yeah, the movie, if it had been called Dawn of Justice, 3 minutes would have been a little bit of disappointment, but I would have said, okay, that scene was cool. You tell me Batman versus Superman, you better give me the fucking George Lucas 20-minute lightsaber battle.
Your point, and other people have been kind of in the same ballpark with it. The Man of Steel fight between Superman and Zod being 1,000 times more epic is such a huge problem when Batman v Superman's fight is garbage by comparison. What's hilarious, though, is my very next note, shit you not, was... I'm going to see exactly how I worded it because it was very, very funny. The movie should have just been called Dawn of Justice. That was my next note. How different would you, in a hypothetical world, if this had just been called Dawn of Justice, how much of your opinion do you think would have changed?
I would still have a shit ton of problems with it, but I think I would have liked it better. Because, again, I thought I was going to see Batman and Superman go toe-to-toe.
Which you should.
Which I should. I mean, it was marketed to me like the Sunday pay-per-view boxing match of all time. The boxing match to end all boxing matches. And I got a little bit of a spear and a few gas grenades. And a whole bunch of other shit that Batman would know full well would not work on this guy. Like the Gatling guns.
Which is cool to see.
It was cool to see.
But when you start thinking about it, that was the ultimate, like, the biggest problem with this movie, is I walked out of it kind of meh.
Yeah.
And every second you spend thinking about this film, you will dislike it more and more and more. Okay, we're going to go now into all of the dozens of plot holes there are in this film.
Oh my god. Where do you even begin?
This first one goes back to me, how piss poor the editing was. What the serious fuck was the point in the Africa stuff at the beginning?
I have no
It was
idea.
utterly pointless. Because, okay, the whole thing at the end of Man of Steel is people hate Superman because of what happened in Metropolis.
Right.
As far as I can tell, the only way they end up using the Africa shit is because if you pay attention when they're doing the Congress stuff, they're like, well, he's killing people in Africa.
Yeah.
That was already a plot element done much better because of the ending of the previous movie.
Yeah.
Africa stuff, that would have saved you 10 minutes of film.
Yeah. I really think it was just so Zack Snyder could get his joke in of killing Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, which was bullshit, too.
Yeah, which, honestly, I'm much happier with the original script of that being Eisenberg.
No fucking kidding, dude. Let's see. Next up.
Which, by the way, I cannot buy into Agent Olsen knowing Jimmy Olsen.
Let's see. Basically, anything having to do with Lex in this movie to me is a plot hole.
Yep.
Okay.
Pulling teeth is more fun than Lex.
Tell me, Ron, are his motivations in the film for wanting to kill Superman? Kind of murky, right?
That he can?
From what I could gather, he has daddy issues and theology issues.
Yeah.
He has no personal stake.
I don't know where this is in your notes, but I disagree with you on the dark side stuff.
What do you mean about the dark side stuff?
I think it felt more to me like he was supposed to be under Darkseid's thumb the whole time.
Well,
because he knew about kryptonite and what it does. He knew where to kind of find it. He knew a whole bunch of stuff he shouldn't have known.
Have you seen... This is something we actually should have watched before doing this. I forgot. It's my fault. Have you seen the
Damn right, it's your fault.
Have you seen the deleted scene?
No.
I'll go ahead and spoil the deleted scene just because we're talking about
That's
it.
okay. They would have anyway if it was still in the movie.
The deleted scene is an extension of Lex going into the ship. And the big takeaway of it is the mother box shit you keep hearing about from this little deleted scene.
Right.
Lex has a reaction like this, like he's being like taken over, kind of.
Oh yeah.
So in your defense, if you hadn't watched that fucking deleted scene, that can be a takeaway.
Yeah.
But my takeaway, and then we're proving each other's point. You don't know. I had one opinion.
Right.
You had one opinion. Lex fucking Luthor. I don't care if it's Lex Luthor in the movie. His motivation should be crystal clear. The only person in the entire movie who has a crystal clear motivation is Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Because he was at Ground Zero during the Metropolis shit. Everyone else, I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah, I don't have any idea what was happening.
Superman's especially. Superman's were very, very murky throughout the movie. Like, he's always bitching about the Batman when he's Clark Kent, but just like...
When he's Superman, all of a sudden he forgets Batman exists, kind of.
I don't know. It was very, very murky and poorly done.
It was very odd.
Let's talk about, while we're talking about Lex...
And there was a lot of people don't like me.
While we're talking about the Lex stuff... Can you explain to me the creation of Doomsday, the shit with his blood? That was not explained even a little bit.
Nor was it okay. I don't know.
The creation of Doomsday is very murky. Like, they also in Man of Steel make a bigger deal about their ships being destroyed, and that ship that he creates, Doomsday, looks pretty operational to me.
Yeah.
Like,
to me, I mean, he used the fucking Genesis Chamber to do that. The Genesis Chamber was supposed to have been completely destroyed in Man of Steel.
Okay, if they're saying in Batman v Superman that he can make Doomsday out of basically resurrecting Zod, then at that point, if I'm remembering right, in Man of Steel, I guess they did get zapped into like the portal type thing, right? Because at that point, Zod could resurrect other Kryptonians, right? Knowing about that?
Yeah, they got pulled into what they say is singularity, which is a black hole.
So, did every single Kryptonian besides Zod and Superman end up getting taken into the portal? I don't remember.
Yeah, they were Zod, Superman, and what was the chick's name?
Feora.
Yeah. They were the only ones outside of that ship. And she got flung back into the ship when she was on the plane that collided with it.
That's right, with Chris Maloney. Yeah.
Right. So it was just the two of them outside of the ship.
Okay. But yeah, there are a lot of inconsistencies between Man of Steel and BVS to me.
To be a direct sequel.
Which should have been Man of Steel 2. A lot of inconsistencies. What the fuck was the point of Kevin Costner's scene as Superman's dad? Can you remember a single thing he said?
No.
It was all... Like, when I was watching it, it was like, you're saying words, but I'm not making sense of any of these things you're saying.
Yeah, it was just
I can't remember.
Gibberish.
It was complete gibberish. And why are you even bothering getting Kevin Costner back
at that point? And that's kind of what worries me about the DC movies.
Why the fuck was, Superman just dipshitting around at that point? Like, up in the middle of nowhere? It's like...
I feel like... where they were going, I thought we were going to start seeing him like carve out the Fortress of Solitude or something. But instead we just got a random ass cameo.
My biggest criticism, now that we're in spoiler territory, this movie feels like 5 different scripts were done with different goals for this film, and they copy and pasted them in a random order throughout the 2.5-hour runtime.
Yeah,
there's no consistency.
And I can tell you the names of them. It was Flashpoint Paradox. It was The Dark Knight Returns. It was Justice League Origin.
And let's talk about the biggie, the death and return of Superman.
And the death and return of Superman.
were your initial reactions to holy shit they killed Superman? What was your reaction?
Well, one, I already know he can't fucking die.
Yeah.
So, anticlimactic.
Okay. Let's take a look at the Justice League Part 1, right? First of all, we're going about this the wrong way. We're rushing it. You know what we need? We need another stumbling block. Let's make a plot point where we not only have to assemble the rest of the Justice League, we have to somehow organically bring Superman back to life.
Yeah.
And then when you bring him back to life, if it doesn't end up being a plot point of him being like crazy and a bad guy, which it could be, but I don't know.
You know what I would have bought into more, even though it is a bit cliche also, is if Batman had actually succeeded and then he came back and is the one that ended Doomsday with the same spear that killed him.
Okay. That would be a little bit more pathos to it, at least.
Yeah. I mean, you would still see it coming a mile away, but it could have been a much more badass ending to Doomsday and everything else if everyone else was just getting their ass handed to him, and then the guy that was dead just came and ended him with the thing that killed him.
I would have liked it a lot more, too, actually. We obviously know he's going to come back. If they had just stuck with it.
Yeah.
He's fucking dead.
Why the dirt at the end? Like Inception style, almost?
Just, he's fucking dead. Because as a fan, you're like, well, he's coming back, but then you're like, oh, wait, there's no Man of Steel 2 on the slate.
Yeah.
You can kind of psych yourself out. Like, is he gone for Justice League 1? Does he come back? Is that, like, it made it a waste of time.
Yeah.
And it made it, like I said, yet another thing they have to do in Justice League, which God knows they didn't need any more fucking problems with rushing to that.
No, they don't. This is why Marvel took 5 movies to build up to the Avengers.
And what's crazy about it is it would have been more defensible. Like, Justice League was always going to be rushed, but at least make just individual good movies.
Yeah. See, I would have been fine with Batman vs. Superman being 3rd or 4th movie and Justice League being next. I would have been totally fine with that. Give me Man of Steel, and then give me the solo Batman movie.
That's Dark Knight Returns. Would have been fucking cool.
Yeah.
Just some variation of Dark Knight Returns.
With, Batman as he was, is already established and everything, and then move into Batman vs. Superman, or even do Wonder Woman and then Batman vs. Superman and Justice League. Something. Give yourself a little bit more time to do it right. If you're gonna don't do it just to fucking do it and get a paycheck. If you're gonna do it, make it as epic as you can and show Marvel they're not the only ones that own this industry.
And what's crazy is when you step back and you take a look at the movie as a whole, with everything it has going on, it very easily could have worked as the idea and plot, if it would have been done right, as the plot for Justice League Part 1.
Yeah, exactly.
The Trinity alone, and the rest of them being cameos, is enough for Justice League Part 1.
The world, trust me, was watching that battle. Either by TV or they were there. The world was watching. For damn sure other metahumans were watching it.
Exactly.
So at the end of the beginning of Justice League Part 2, basically, could be people coming to them.
Yeah. Okay.
Which, by the way, if Flash exists, where the fuck was he? He'd have been in there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, he really would have. Okay, this is basically... I'm sorry, okay, we're running really, really long with this. I don't want to end up having, because we have more topics to get to. Would you like to do a separate... Just because from what we have left on is basically talking about cameos and the spin-offs and Justice League. Like, the rest of this can all be Justice League shit. Do you want to do a separate pod where we're just straight up talking Justice League stuff?
I don't know about your feelings on it, or you've obviously put a lot more thought into this. Is it something you would just be willing to lightning round for the next 20 minutes and call it a 2-hour podcast? We would have had an hour of non-spoiler and an hour of spoiler.
Let me see. I'm looking through my notes again.
We're so organized. Because there was a lot wrong with it, but at the same time, I don't know what all their. I don't have a whole lot to say about them either.
Okay, yeah, we'll go lightning round.
Okay.
Spoiler section. thoughts on Wonder Woman? I mean, we already kind of
Fan-fucking-tastic.
We loved her. Her action was amazing.
Yeah,
her using the sword to cut off Doomsday's arm, geek out moment, awesome shit right there.
Yeah, fantastic. Her the moment I think you were talking about when you're talking about her reaction to getting hit was when she was sliding backwards and backs into that.
That
thing.
was the one she ad-libbed.
Yeah,
awesome.
And then she just like basically flew forward real quick. I think her next move was taking off his hand after that.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah, it was towards the end of the fight. I think.
I loved her.
Awesome. Okay, we're gonna go one by one, quick reactions to the cameos. As far as, first of all, the fact that Lex has hired a graphics designer company to give them all logos on the email,
right,
was fucking dumb.
Yeah,
just idiot. Like,
I could not believe.
Oh, and it's like on their file names had their names. Just put it in fucking 30 font instead of 18. You don't need logos for them. We can read. We don't need fucking picture association like we're for.
Yeah.
It was dumb.
Yeah.
But let's go one by one. Cyborg, your thoughts on Cyborg's little cameo?
Very Justice League War.
There was a straight up mother box
right in your face, and then just like in Justice League War, it started sucking in everything around him to build him into Cyborg.
A lot of people have problems with the Cyborg one. I actually kind of liked the Cyborg one.
How did you even see enough to have a problem with it?
A lot of people were saying it's kind of... I mean, this is kind of actually like a good argument against it. That's kind of his whole origin that they kind of just did in the little 10-second cameo. Like,
yeah.
That's a problem.
That's a problem, but...
I did think it was hilarious, so if you didn't catch it, the guy who was playing his dad was... the Cyberdyne dude in Terminator 2.
Was he really?
So when you get him around AI and robots and shit, bad stuff happens. I thought that was hilarious. I actually caught that too when I was watching. I was happy to see the Collider guys on a video. I was watching like make fun of it because it was hilarious. Aquaman. What did you think of Aquaman? The first time you get to see Khal Drogo.
It's a pretty boss scene, actually. I'll give them that one.
This was actually another thing. I liked seeing Khal Drogo as Aquaman. I thought it was actually edited very poorly.
Yeah.
Because here's my thing, and this isn't me ripping off a joke. This is actually my honest-to-God reaction. When you see his eyes and they're like glimmering, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
My problem with it is the editing, because when he starts floating out, instead of being Aquaman and fucking Trident and that shit and swimming away, it looks like he's positioning for a selfie. When you think about it, right? Because he's like posing a little bit. He's like smirking a little bit. To me, it would have been so much cooler if you see the glimmering eyes.
Yeah.
You see him flash out, and you get like a Cloverfield type scene where you see a glimpse of him. Camera's fucked up. Camera drifts sideways, and then you see him dart at a weird angle.
That moment, though, when he just blasts off in the water.
Yeah, like Sonic Boom underwater. That was cool. But yeah, my only issue was how long it lingered, because he's floating slowly for about 10 seconds. Like, it felt like a long...
It was almost like he was waiting for them to yell action, to be honest.
Yeah. That was actually... What's funny...
That didn't bother me as much, but I totally get where you're coming from.
You know what I'm saying, though? I mean, dude, okay... No offense to Jason Momoa. Dude,
no, that was amazing.
He's gonna be a great Aquaman. I cannot wait.
He's gonna put Aquaman on the map, dude.
What did you think of the Flash one? And we're talking
which one?
The convenience store.
The convenience store.
Because the next topic is the next one.
I kind of got the feeling from that one. I didn't want to say this when you mentioned it earlier, that he is going to be comedic relief in Justice League, just because me and a lot of the audience laughed out loud when he ran over, solved the problem, and ran back. And so it's just like the way he did it was very Wally West Justice League feel kind of to it in one shot.
Really quickly, Ezra Miller, I've only seen him in that one role in, oh god, what was the name of the movie? Perks of Being a Wallflower. Only seen him in that one movie. He is the third lead with Hermione and Logan Lerman, who you know I love. I love Logan Lerman. The star of that movie is Ezra Miller. Mm-hmm. Dude is fucking, like, one line, he's likable. Like, the dude has a lot of charisma. I think it's going to come across in the Flash movie. Super excited to see his portrayal. Although, I would have, because of the success of the CW show with Barry, fucking make him Wally.
Yeah, I hope.
Who is the number one, before the CW show, who was really the most well-known Flash? It was Wally because of the cartoon.
Because the cartoon, yeah.
I would have it would have been a great and very smart way to differentiate it. Much like I really think if they ever do Green Lantern, the primary should be Jon Stewart, not Hal Jordan.
Right.
Make it as different as what has come before it as much as humanly possible, and it's just easy.
Although
to do.
I do like the rumor about the Green Lantern Corps having Hal and John.
I agree, but at the very minimum, Jon Stewart needs to be a focal point.
Yes.
I think.
If only one of them gets in the Justice League, it needs to be John.
Yeah, I didn't have as it's lame, but the whole thing about the emails didn't bother me. Just the logos was the part of it. If it had just been emails with the names, it wouldn't bother me as much. But
you know one thing that CNET pointed out in the article that I'm not going to get to because of time. But another thing they pointed out was the scrolling through the email one single line at a time.
Like they're on AOL Instant Messenger.
It was driving them absolutely insane. And while I didn't like that, at the same time, I get movie making.
It's a movie.
It's a movie thing.
And again, this movie has so many thousands of things wrong with it, you don't need to nitpick it. It will throw shit to complain about.
They only compiled a list of 11 things, and that's 2 of the shit that was in there.
Yeah. Okay, now we're getting to the big one. The Flashpoint paradox, whatever the fuck you want to call it, Nightmare Batman scene where it's like the way that it was put by John Schnepp from Collider. It was that I love. It's because his reaction to it was like, I would have watched a 2-hour movie of just Mad Max Batman,
right?
Because it is straight up Mad Max Batman. It was one of the coolest scenes in the movie. When it's in an alternate reality or quasi future, seeing Batman using a gun killing people was actually kind of cool because it was like an alternate reality.
Yeah,
it was
I took it as, honestly, because of what happens immediately after that. People are calling them dream sequences. I think they're basically memories of shit that didn't happen or shit that could happen or shit that's happening parallel. I think they're more memories than dream
It's either
sequences.
future or alternate reality because of what happens next.
And I think he's just remembering it.
Really quickly, the Jenna Malone thing, people are saying she is a big part of the rest of the cutout sequence of Mad Max Batman in that sequence. People are speculating that's where she comes into play.
Okay.
I don't know as who. We don't know that yet, but that's where people are speculating. Now we're going to talk about the Flashpoint paradox type thing, which, as much as I'm going to bitch about this movie, when he has that sequence, and then Flash pops through a fucking time vortex, Flashpoint paradox.
My reaction
style,
was Ben Affleck's in the movie.
I sat up in my fucking chair.
I did too.
I was like,
and Kevin Smith said he did in that moment.
We're watching a live action movie where the Flash is coming back through time to talk to Batman. I was like,
yeah, dude. Like I said, my reaction was like Ben Affleck's, where he nearly fell out of his chair.
Money in the fucking bank. And earlier I was giving shit to the scriptwriters. I was like, well, at least they did that right. That was ad-libbed by Zack fucking Snyder.
Yeah.
So you can't even give him that one.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, back to the point about the Flash thing. I sat up in my chair. It was my favorite scenes of the entire film were the Arkham hand-to-hand Daredevil combat scene with Batman towards the end and that Flash thing. That, to me, those were the highlights of the film.
Now, also, not just that, and that was another thing CNET also brought up that was in their article, was who the fuck's the random red guy and why is he in love with Lois because he keeps shouting her name. That's the only thing you can understand him saying. Like, I understood everything that he said, and it's clearly the Flash. But if you know anything about Flashpoint Paradox, it is clearly the Flash. But what a great way to unveil part of his costume, too, by the way.
And it's a more armored version, so it gives you
Yes.
Injustice Gods Among Us.
Yes.
The whole thing is Lois is killed. I forget if it's by Batman, but in the game, Lois is killed. Superman goes crazy. He's basically a tyrant.
Yeah.
And then it looks like... what was your impression? So you think... If you had to pick right now, alternate reality or like future, what do you think, if you had to guess right now, what the deal was with how they're doing the Nightmare Batman and the Flashpoint things? Like,
I'm not even 100% sure if they're related, because the first thing you see in the Mad Max one is the giant Omega symbol, and then you see Darkseid's soldiers and stuff in there.
Like Justice League Part 2 is Darkseid, Part 1 is Evil Superman. That would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
They probably won't do it because it'd be interesting.
Right, exactly. Here's the other thing, though. If they're giving me Flashpoint Paradox at all, it makes so much more sense why they went out of their way to get Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas Wayne.
Dude, it would be killer, dude.
You're ain't shitting me. He'll kill more people than Ben Affleck did.
If this is one of my notes, if this movie leads to an awesome Flashpoint Paradox Justice League film. Let's say magically they get all of their shit together and they make an awesome Flashpoint Paradox movie. That would be amazing, because probably my favorite of the animated movies, it's a toss-up between... In my top 3 are Mask of the Phantasm, The Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2, and Flashpoint Paradox. Those are my big 3. So if it leads to that, and I can forget this movie as...
It's amazing how many of those were Batman, by the way.
Well, I don't bear the lead on that one. But yeah, dude, just the thought of me... Like, that was a... If that had been somehow spoiled... I would have driven to Hollywood to personally beat the fuck out of the marketing department.
Cartman style when he's trying to get Family Guy off the air.
Like, man, so good.
Yeah.
So good. I liked how their connections to future movies are actually mystery threads. That is something Marvel, when you think about it, hasn't really done.
No, they spell it out.
They spell it out, and they show how they connect. But there isn't a mystery about it. I actually really like that element to it, specifically the Flash and
honestly,
the Dark Side
Marvel
stuff.
kind of has their stuff set up where they really can't, because they're more family oriented and kind of for the kids kind of thing.
Yeah,
which you got to spell stuff out too.
Which you do. The spin-off movies. Obviously, I don't think it goes without saying we're super excited for Wonder Woman. Even in spite of this movie, we're both really excited for it.
Oh yeah.
Super excited for Aquaman because of James Wan. I think he's going to do a great job. James Wan being from both horror background, and then his first action movie was Fast and Furious 7.
Okay.
Transferring from that genre to that genre, having a death of one of the leads. Dude had a lot going against him and actually made a much more fucking coherent movie than what we just watched in Batman v Superman. Super excited for that one. Cyborg is very far out. I wish they hadn't straight up done his origin in 5 seconds.
Well, it could be confirming rumors we reported on a while back where they're changing Cyborg to not be a solo film for him.
Where it's Titans.
Yeah.
Which I like Cyborg as a character. I would be personally more excited for it if it was Titans.
I am a lot more excited for it to be Titans now, after seeing the way this movie was put together. There's no way they could pull off a solo Cyborg film.
Right? Shazam? That shit's not happening.
No.
You don't have... Okay, when they went into their little slate of having like the Shazam and shit like that, you can only do that if you're Marvel and you have a brand.
Yes.
You have to earn the right to have an Ant-Man movie. You can't... Like, if your movie with Batman, Superman, Lex Luthor Jr., Lois, Doomsday, and I don't even know if I said Wonder Woman. If you have all those elements and you made a bad movie, no way in hell can they afford to use money towards a Shazam film. No way in hell that's happening. I think you're right. I think Cyborg will be Titans. I think you're right.
I think that kind of confirms that rumor because they already did his origin. Now
that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that actually.
Here's that's rare. Now here's something back to something you said earlier. If they end up doing Shazam, whose asses are going to be in the seat opening weekend?
I don't even know if The Rock is still attached as Black Adam. That was originally their only draw. Was he was going to be the bad guy?
But we're still going.
Why? If you're The Rock, why the fuck would you associate yourself with these movies right now?
Well, apparently Black Adam is one of his favorite comic characters.
Even still, like
he wanted that role.
I mean, but like with hindsight being 2020 now after this movie, like that's just.
But like I said, you and I will still be there.
And that is the very last thing we're going to talk about is thoughts on the DCU. It's actually not DCCU. They consider it the DC Extended Universe, the DCEU. Your overall thoughts going forward as far as all the spinoffs of Justice Leagues, just your overall thoughts going forward.
I see 1, 2, 3 movies I'm excited for. And that is about it. Suicide Squad, which really isn't even technically canon for what I've seen so far, other than Batman's going to be in it.
It's part of the universe, and it is canon. It's just like apples and oranges almost.
Yeah.
Like, it actually looks like
that trailer
fun.
is much better than that entire movie.
Is the Suicide Squad trailer, the Bohemian Rhapsody one, like awesome, and then all the BVS stuff is lame and spoils 95% of the movie. That's beyond me. That's I'm excited for Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman. I'm actually excited for The Flash just because the director of it is the writer of the Lego Batman movie.
I'm still mad about Grant Gustin. So
you are see. I'm so happy, and that my prediction was ahead of time. You don't want Grant Gustin anywhere near this shit. I'm happy he's not associated with this.
It'll hurt him. It would
have hurt him. I'm actually excited for it just because of that guy writing and directing it, and I really like Ezra Miller. The Flash is actually fun. The show. This is not fun.
No,
it would not have worked.
Not fun at all.
Aquaman 2 and the Justice League shit. Oh god, I'm so nervous with Chris Terrio being the writer.
Yeah,
I'm so nervous.
So scared for that. I did want to call back to one thing I just now remembered, or I would have made it a lot more coherent. But right now, this podcast matches the movie, so it doesn't matter. There was a theology thing I said that I wanted to mention later that bothered me more than the rest of it, and that is the scene after Superman gets quote unquote killed. I've been trying to research so I can get the name of it, but there is an old movie. I don't think it's the greatest story ever told, but it may be. There's an old 1960s crucifixion movie where they completely recreated a scene from it.
Which one?
So Superman is like wrapped in his cape and being passed down by Batman to Wonder Woman with a fucking cross in the background from rebar.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I missed that. I'll have to watch that for that.
The camera angle is even very similar to it. All the Christian schools and everything I went through all the way up to high school, I remember this scene very well because I've seen it so many times. But Jesus gets basically wrapped up because he's essentially naked on the cross, so he gets wrapped up in like a gown or a cloth and then gets passed down from the cross to people waiting to receive him with the other crucified members in the background. Their cross is still visible in the background, and Batman kind of rolls Superman up in his cape and passes him down to Wonder Woman, and there is rebar shaped into a cross in the background.
I missed that. And when I go back and watch it again and I notice that, this movie drops down another peg.
Yeah, right. I was like, really? Are you fucking serious?
There was...
right in my face.
This movie is so obnoxiously self-important.
Yeah.
Like, it's brutal.
Yeah,
like I said earlier, the superhero stuff should always be an allegory and parallel, not be like thrown all over the goddamn screen. It just makes you.
It was in your face as much as Michael Bay trying to make a statement on race.
Like everything Lex says in the movie is some type of bullshit. Just
they should have gone Bryan Cranston, and they should have gone Lex, not Lex Jr. It would have been a completely different movie.
I think it still would have been bad. It just wouldn't have been as bad.
Yeah.
I'm glad Bryan Cranston was never associated with this film. I don't even know if we talked about it earlier, but like if they had just straight up let Eisenberg do how he portrays Zucker in Social Network, he could have been an awesome, conniving, like arms dealer, smartest guy in the room. Like,
it turned me around a little bit on him when they first released the image of him with the shaved head.
Yeah. Well, why don't we talk about the last scene real quick before you head on out? With Lex going, he was already fucking like 100% batshit, and then he's like 120% batshit. He's doing this went a little bit over my head because I haven't read as many comics related to Darkseid, but apparently his little like ting 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 thing is a specific reference to Darkseid too. So I don't know. I just think it could have. I should be excited to see Darkseid in the film, and now I'm just like, you guys, why should I have any faith that it won't be bad?
Yeah, I'm more excited for Thanos in Infinity War than I am Darkseid in
Which
Justice
is depressing, because
League.
Thanos is such a blatant goddamn Darkseid ripoff, it's embarrassing, yet it's done so much better over there. Like,
yeah, they've talked about the creation of Thanos, and it was literally, they ripped him off of Darkseid, but they wanted to make him scrawny just in case they got in trouble. And the guy's boss literally walked by and said, if you're going to rip off a character, fucking rip him off. And then, and I am more excited for the knockoff Darkseid than I am Darkseid. I just don't.
While we're talking about Lex, that scene, when earlier we were talking about plot holes as far as scenes could have been taken out that really didn't end up making any sense as far as moving the plot along. Remember the scene where Lex blows up the Congress room thing?
Yeah.
10 seconds after it blows up, they're like, well, we know it was that guy, it wasn't Superman.
Yeah.
What was the point? What was the fucking point, Ron?
I have no idea.
It was like this movie didn't realize that the whole plot setup is Man of Steel's Metropolis destruction.
We didn't even talk about Martha.
Oh yeah, we didn't really talk about Martha. Well, since we've extended this a little bit, go on. Fuck it.
So, Superman, Kryptonite, Batman, anyone named Martha. What the hell? Like, I don't understand.
I was so shocked that that's the direction they went with it. I was so shocked. I forgot to have a reaction to it. I was just like, "This is happening right now." I'm like looking around at Phil, like, "Is this happening right now?"
Yeah. So, what would have been so much better is it was honestly kind of a cool angle, as much as I hate to admit it, to have Lex be someone finally be smart enough to figure out that it's Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne, and set them up to fight each other. However poor that was portrayed, but how much better would it have been from a writing standpoint to have one of those many pictures that went blowing off in the wind laying down at like Lois's feet on the ground, and she just is the one that runs in and gets between Batman and Superman, and that's what makes Batman stop, because he's only gunning to try to kill the one guy. She's a civilian, but instead he's already hesitating by the time she gets in there.
Yeah,
it would have made so much more sense.
It would have made it
to have Lois be the one that make him.
It would have created more of an emotional response.
Yeah.
Because at that point, because this is another missed opportunity amongst the dozens of other ones. If the deciding factor wasn't anything to do with, like, let's just say they dropped the whole Martha angle, and let's just say it's like you're saying how it was just Lois running in. At that point in the film, Bruce Wayne and Batman have only been viewing him as an alien.
Yeah.
Like, If it is the defining point in the movie and why he stops fighting him, he's like, oh shit, people care about this dude.
Yeah.
Like, he's no longer an alien. He's a guy.
Yeah.
He just happens to be from another planet. Like, just so many missed opportunities.
And then, on that same point, how I hate unnecessary plot devices. What was the fucking point of having her throw the spear away?
What was the okay, after Lois tells Batman, stop, he's only trying to save his mom. Lois at that point has no reason to exist in the rest of the film, and she does, and she ends up basically just being a plot device as far as, Superman has to stop to go fucking save her. How many buildings does Lois fall off in this movie?
Right.
Like 17, I'm pretty sure. Like,
yeah, something like that.
Dumb.
She was such a strong female character in Man of Steel.
And to me, my favorite Lois ever.
She's Princess Peach. She's always in another castle, and she's always in distress.
They do such a good fucking job with Wonder Woman as far as like the feminist angle.
Yeah.
And then every other female character in the movie only exists.
Was Michael Bade.
Only exists to be saved by Batman or Superman.
Yeah.
Dumb.
I don't get it.
Fucking dumb, dude.
Yeah. But
Mercy could have been a cool character. She has one line. She's fucking dead.
Yeah, they blew her up.
By Lex. What the fuck, man?
Yeah. So, yeah, I know.
The editing. This was a point I forgot to talk about in the editing. She spins the bottle of pee around for like 5 minutes. Yeah. What the fuck was that? That scene would have been so much cooler if she sees the bottle, looks up. Superman's like, "What? Why'd you stop talking?" She looks back down, spins it around. Granny's peach tea. Boom.
Yeah.
What the fuck? You're trying to edit down your runtime. Why is Aquaman spending 5 minutes positioning for a selfie and she's spinning the bottle? Like, huh? I wonder if Lex had Gatorade or vitamin water today. Like,
yeah.
Huh? Fuck. I don't know. I don't think anyone edited this movie. I just think it was. I don't know. Before I pop a fucking gasket, is there anything else you want to talk about? I think we about hit every possible thing about this film. I think we could.
No, I just wanted to throw in there just for the fun of it that the moment she picked up the spear and threw it in the water, I literally sat up in my chair and said out loud, "What the hell? That's the only thing that can kill Doomsday." And Chris was like, "Shh," because I just couldn't take it anymore. I did like the Batwing, though.
I like the Batwing.
It wasn't as plane-like as I'd like, but it was still fucking cool.
It was pretty sweet. It was very Arkham Origins.
Yeah.
I liked the reference to Dark Knight Returns. about Superman getting nuked. You talked about that earlier. We didn't go into too much detail. I liked that. I like the way Doomsday ended up being used.
Yeah.
But
it's still a better origin story than his comic origin.
It really is. And if you disagree, you're wrong.
Batman vs. Superman is still a better love story than Twilight.
Watch the Max Landis Death of Superman video to get the Doomsday origin if you don't know what it is. It's so fucking on point. But I thought Doomsday, the CGI looked a little 2005.
Yeah,
Could looked the whole last fight that people have pointed out really looks like it's in front of a green screen.
Yeah,
more so somehow than the Zod Superman fight when they're blowing up the whole fucking city. That I bought that more as far as it looking not like a green screen scene than that one.
Yeah,
it was like the budget was awkwardly placed throughout this film, I think is something I'd say.
See, and like I mentioned earlier, but I didn't go into explain when we were talking about the Kevin Costner cameo. That's the thing that worries me about the DC Extended Universe is they invest so much money in star power, afraid that you're not going to show up unless they have Jeremy Irons, Ben Affleck, Kevin Costner, Diane Lane. What the fuck?
Lawrence Fishburne. I'm sorry. You tell me it's Batman v Superman, I'm there. You need to cast properly. You know, Kevin Costner showing up and mumbling like Sylvester Stallone for a couple of minutes or a couple seconds and then leaving. How much did that fucking cost? That could have gone towards Doomsday. Dude.
You know?
I'm just shaking my head because there's nothing you can say.
Yeah,
nothing you can fucking say.
I mean, it just worries me.
It's not the worst film ever. There have been worse superhero films.
Yeah,
I just watched one. The fucking Fantastic Four movie was worse than this.
I never saw it.
Actually,
now to think about it,
it's a little bit more coherent. I will give it that. It's still fucking bad, but. What makes this such a letdown and so frustrating is that there are elements of a damn good movie in here. It was just through the editing, the directing, and the writing, it was just a disaster as far as execution.
They focused less on the movie and more trying to blow your brain. That's the problem. It would have blown my brain if they had made a great movie. But instead, they're just like, oh, you know what'll really get them? Like, what'll really wow them? Like, this fucking thing happening. And instead, it's just...
The first half of the movie... There's what? 1.5 action scenes?
I do love your first sighting of Batman, though.
Yeah.
When he's kind of up in the ceiling.
I like, and this was something I forgot to talk about because we weren't doing spoilers at that point when we got into our big Batman discussion, but when I was talking earlier about presence, as far as Batman should have presence, I loved how the cops are going in to save these hostages, and the cop opens the jail cell door, and they close it.
And they say it's still here.
That is Batman. That is awesome. So yeah, it's so annoying that we can forget something really, really cool because the bad things stick in your brain a lot more than the good things. But yeah, I think we've just beaten all of the fucking dead horses about this. But if you'd like to check out more of our content, which I don't even know what other content we have left to give after this, it's kind of like the end all of there will be expletives.
There have been fucking expletives, dude.
All of the expletives. If you would like to check us out more, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel content. It gets you all of our material, all the commentaries, all Let's Plays, podcasts, everything you think of, we do poorly. Social media links for Twitter and Facebook are below in the description if you'd like to check us out more. I promise you we don't flood your feed with useless articles about
there hasn't even been anything to post in the last week. I don't think we've done anything.
Last thing I ask is if you liked our content and know anyone else that might also like it, share us out there. It helps grow our subscriber base. I am Jeff.
I'm Ron.
We'll see you guys next time.